Let's start. Scratch. Okay, so this is what you call rules of conditional group. Kung saan part to ng lecture, ito yung kasunod dapat ng formal normal proof, yung FNP, yung direct proof. So after nun, ito yon. Mas maiintindihan nyo kasi to kung makukumpleto natin to. Mas maiintindihan nyo yung set kung makukumpleto nyo to. Okay, so ang rules of conditional proof from the word conditional, that is connected to your conditional statement. Okay, going back, no, basic definition, no. I hope naalala mo pa, basic definition ng argument. An argument is written in the form of P1, P2, P3, up to Pn, therefore Q. No, ang sabi ko, ang tawag diyan argument form. Argument form. Ngayon, sometimes your Q is in the form of implication. And knowing implication, that is also known as conditional statement. Okay, so I will give you example. Example, in your activity, I don't know if this is answered in lecture video, pero in your activity of argument, valid argument, one of the problem there, mapapansin mo to sa number 3, sa number 4, lagyan ko pang number 4, sa lecture yan, number 4, we have H if and only if K. The second premise is K implies not U. And the conclusion of this argument is H implies not U. So ano yung sinasabi ko kanina? Sometimes your conclusion Q is in the form of implication. At nakita mo ngayon sa number 4. Your conclusion is implication. No? Take note that Q is not always Q. That is only our notation to denote conclusion. But Q can be any propositional form. Now, ang sinasabi ng rules of conditional proof, kapag daw yung Q mo ay nasa implication or conditional statement, pwede mong gamitin yung RCP. Ito yung RCP. Okay? Yan yung RCP. Okay, now, paano mo gagamitin yung RCP? Derive muna natin, derive. Okay? Ulitin ko. Okay? From basic definition, we have P1, P2, P3, up to Pn, therefore Q. By letting Q is logically equivalent to P implies Q, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, sometimes conclusion is implication. Now, this is now P1, P2, P3, up to Pn. Therefore, instead of writing Q, you write the logically equivalent of your Q because nilet ko yan. So, instead of writing Q, I will write P implies Q. Okay? Now, by converting to propositional form, by converting your argument form to propositional form, tinuro ko sa inyo yan, dito yung kasunod. We have quantity P1 and P2 just conjunct all the premises and P3 and up to the last premise which is Pn implies the conclusion, but the conclusion is P implies Q. So that's how to convert that argument form to propositional form. From that, gagamit tayo ng rules of replacement. Isa sa rules of replacement is what you call exportation. So, recall na lang natin kasi baka wala kang hawak na rules. Recall expo. Ang sabi ni expo, kapag meron kang P and Q implies R, pwede mong palitan yan ng P implies quantity Q implies R. So, yan yung sinasabi ni expo. Ngayon, kung mapapansin mo, if we consider this whole premise as your P, tapos implies, let's say this is your quantity Q implies R. So, ito yung P, ito yung Q, ito yung R. Ngayon, kung papansin mo, ito yan, eksakto. So, pwede natin gamitan to ng exportation. Papunta dito, papunta dito. Okay? So, paano ang magiging result nun? So, by exportation, by expo, we have P1 and P2 and P3 and and Pn. Tapos, ano mangyayari? Pag itong P implies quantity, Q implies R, in exportation mo, yung Q sa loob ng conclusion na premise ng conclusion, that's the premise of the conclusion, ay magiging part ng premise ng propositional form by using N. So, kung nandito tayo sa part na to, ito, chichik ko, yan. Yung part na yan, yung P na to ay sasama sa loob ng premise ng propositional form. So, this is and P close at ang matitira dito R, but in our case, we have Q. Okay, now, kung mapapansin mo, going back to argument form, paano naman sinusulat to by argument form? Yung kabaliktaran. Kanina, from argument, ginawa kong propositional. Ngayon, from propositional, gagawin kong argument. Ano mangyayari? Ito mangyayari. So, isusulat ko yan, P1, the next premise is P2, the next premise is P3, the next premise is up to Pn, then this is now part of your premise P, then therefore Q. Okay. Saan galing yan? Galing yan dito. Etong part na to, ito by RCP. Ngayon, yung part na yan ay galing dito sa ating basic definition. So, kung mapapansin mo, pag binigyan ka pala ng ganito, pag binigyan ka ng ganitong form ng argument, mapapalit ako ng tinta. Okay. Pag binigyan ka nito, ganitong form ng argument, makikita mo yung P na part ng conclusion, in particular, this is the premise of the conclusion, ay pwede mo palang isama pataas na instead of proving P implies Q, you are now only proving Q. You are now only proving Q by RCP. Okay, now, paano yan? Application. Balikan natin yung sinulat ko kanina. Yung kaninang sinulat ko, yung number 4 na sinasabi ko kanina, balikan natin, going back to number 4, we have H implies K, that's na may number 1, diretso na, number 2, that's not implication, that's by conditional. Okay, number 2 is K implies not U, then the conclusion is H implies not you. Okay, tingnan mo Ngayon, kung mapapansin mo, number 3, sabi ng RCP, I want to use RCP here because I can use RCP because RCP is applicable in this kind of propositional form. In this kind of argument, uulitin ko. You can only use RCP provided that your conclusion of the argument is implication or conditional. Kaya nga conditional proof. Ngayon, ang mangyayari dito, papasok si H at ang ipuprove ko na lang ay si not you. Okay? Papasok si H, kung ano yung premise, ipasok mo. I-prove mo yung conclusion ng conclusion. No? So, wala tayong pag-uusapan doon kasi dinerive ko naman gamit ang expo. Okay? Ang expo ay part ng rules of replacement na kung saan, ibig sabihin, they are logically equivalent. Kung they are logically equivalent, they can replace each other. Number 4, okay. Yung H if and only if gagamitan ko ng ME. Kung wala kang ME, sabi ko nga kanina, dapat prepare ka sa lecture. May rules ka. Ito ang ME niyan. K implies H. That's ME number 1. ME number 1. Okay, now, ito yung mali ng karamihan sa lahat. Ito dito, this number 4, if you can observe number 4, the main operator is implication. Okay? The main operator here is conjunction. Because the main operator is conjunction, you can always detach the first conjunct, which is H implies K, by simplification applying to number 4. Okay? From that, makikita mo, number 6, H implies K, tapos sa number 3 may H ka, makukuha mo yung K by MP, number 5, and number 3. Then from that, number 7, pansinin mo yung number 2 tsaka number 6. This is also MP. Because this is, number 2 is K implies not you. Number 6 is K. Exactly the premise of the number 2. So you can detach not you. Again, that is only MP for number 2 and number 6. Now, as you observe, line number 7 is now not you, which is our goal. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, tapos na. Pero, kailangan mong isulat yung number 8. Yung original conclusion na H, you have proven H implies not you by RCP, applying RCP from number 3 to number 7. And this is done. And you will write by RCP. And that is valid. Okay? That's how to use RCP. Okay, now, isang example is enough to explain everything. Again, proseso lang ang binago dito. Binibigyan ka ng technique na kapag napansin mo daw na ang conclusion ng argument ay implication, you can always include the premise of the conclusion inside the premises or inside the premise of argument. Okay? Now, another proving technique used in mathematics is what you call the rules of indirect proof, also known as RIP. Ito naman yung tinatawag na indirect proof. Okay? Ano ang idea nito? Ang idea nito, again, going back to the basic definition of the argument, we have P1, P2, P3, up to Pn, therefore Q. Again, that is the argument form. Now, converting this to propositional form, we have P1 and P2 and P3 and ... NPN close implies Q. Okay, from that propositional form, lalaruin ko yan. Gagamit ako ng ident. sa rules of replacement. Meron tayong 8 ident at isa doon yung gagamitin ko. P1, P2, and P3, and and Pn implies quantity Q or 0. Okay, Q or 0 is Q by ident. Next, by MI, applying to the conclusion, just copy the premise, P1, P2, P3, and and Pn implies, applying the material implication MI, negate, change, copy. From that, I will apply expo. Expo, same procedure kanina yung ginamit ko. Papasok yung not Q sa loob ng premises. P1 and P2 and P3 and and Pn and not Q. Close implies 0. Okay, now, this is very important. Convert this going to AF. Argument form. This is P1, P2, P3, up to Pn, followed by not U, therefore, 0. Ang 0 na to ay tinatawag na contradiction. Contradiction. At isang beses ka lang magkakaroon ng contradiction or 0 na rule, sa rules ng replacement, sa ident yun. So expect by using RIP or rules of indirect proof, you will always use the ident rule. Okay, now, ano nangyari? Discuss natin. Gamit ako ibang kulay. Okay, original, ito yung original. Ito yung naging result. So, ano nangyari? Etong Q na to, pumasok. Pero sa pagpasok niya, kailangan mag-negate siya. Tapos, yung may iwan mo dito, magiging 0 na lang. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Instead of proving Q, why we need the negation of Q inside the premises? And let's show contradiction. Okay, ano ba yung contradiction? Ang contradiction saan is P and not P. That is 0. Let's contradict. Meron kang P, tapos kinokontra niya yung P. Kinokontra niya yung P, which is not P. Take note that P and not P is always 0. That's what you call contradiction. Okay? Let's demonstrate kung paano natin gagamitin yan. Okay. I will use different example, but my example is again from your activity last time. I don't know if this is answered by direct. No? The important is we can exhibit kung paano siya i-prove using indirect now. Okay? Let's answer number 3 of that. From activity number 3. The premise number 1 is not quantity J or E. Number 2 is A implies W implies E. Number 3 is J or A. Therefore, not W. Okay, let's now apply RIP. Ang sabi ng RIP, pag ito yung iyong argument, pwede mong ipasok yung negation ng conclusion sa loob ng premises at magpakita ka ng 0. So, ano mangyayari dito? So, mangyayari dito, for my number 4, i-include ko yung negation ng conclusion, but that, of course, that is obvious that the negation of not W is just W. Therefore, 0. Okay, from that, magpapakita ko ng 0. Ano advantage nito? Wala ka nang ibang iisipin kundi magpakita ng 0. Hindi mo na iisipin kung saan mo kukunin yung ganyan, yung ganito. Basta magpakita ka ng 0 sa kahit anong paraan gamit ang ident. Okay? Okay, subukan natin to. Number 5. Not J, and not E. So that is DM of number 1. Number 6, I can detach not J, of course, by simp. Again, simp. Ingat sa simp ha. Lahat kayo mali sa simp. Halos lahat. Iwasan nyo rin kasi anong nangyayari niyan, yes, ang sabi nga ni Jade, hindi literal na kopyahan, tulungan. Ang problema, if you are not convinced or you are having doubt doon sa iyong ginagawa, wag mong i-share sa iba, especially kung naniniwala sila sa iyo. Okay? Andito naman ako magtanong ka sa akin. Ang problema si President lang nagtatanong sa akin, which is good. Nagtatanong siya sa akin, pero hindi niya pa rin kayang tanong lahat ng tanong nyo. So, mas maganda siguro from now on, kayo rin naman makikinabang dito, kayo rin, promise, na pwede kang magyabang pag gumalaw ka ng maganda dito kasi konti lang tayong nakakaalam nito. Biro mo mathematics, walang competition. Dito, ito, kumbaga sa puno, this mathematics is the root of mathematics. Yung algebra, yung calculus, yung mga ibang mathematics na mahihirap daw, yun ay bunga. Hindi mo maiintindihan kung bakit may bunga or kung bakit matamis ang bunga kung hindi mo naiintindihan ng ugat. Ito ang ugat. This is the root of mathematics. Okay? Okay, now, going back, number 7, from that, again, from number 5, I detach my not J. I can do that by applying simp to number 5. Okay, not J, from not J, go, and using number 3, by DS, I can detach A. That's DS of number 3 and number 6. Okay? Number 8. Now, may A ka na, mapapansin mo yung number 2, premise niya yung A, tapos meron kang 7 na A, makukuha mo yung W implies E. Number 8, W implies E is by applying MP to number 2 and number 7. That's good. Number 2 and number 7. Now, from that, makikita mo, number 9, for number 9, sa number 8, meron kang W implies E. Yung number 4 mo, W, eksakto, meron kang E. By, again, MP, number 8 and 4. Okay? Number 10, because may E ako, ito na yun. May E ako, no, hindi pa. I can detach not E from number 5 by applying com first, com muna, then followed by simp. That's com simp number 5. Dapat alam mo yan. Hindi mo pwedeng kunin yung not E kung mag-simp ka because simp can only detach the first conjunct. To do that, you first apply com, then followed by simp. Now, ito na yung sinasabi ko. Number 11, if you combine E and not E by the rule of conjunction of number 10 and number 9. Conjunction of number 10 and number 9. Number 9, sorry for that. Number 9 and 10. Oh. Ayaw mo. Number 9 and 10, hindi 10 and 9. Yun yung kailangan masunod. Kung paano mo sinulat, ganun mo tatawagin. Tinawag mo muna si 9 followed by 10. And number 12, mapapansin mo that this is a contradiction. Meron kang E at the same time, nakakonjunct sa not E, that is 0. That is ident. Now, from that, this is the last step. Number 13, you write the original conclusion. The original conclusion is not W. And because of RIP, you need to box. May dahilan niya kung bakit naka-box. Kaya lang the problem is wala akong example ngayon. Honestly, nakalimutan ko yung oras natin. Kaya late na rin ako kumain at late na rin ako nakapasok ngayon. Pero next time na makipag-meet kayo sa akin, anytime, just ikayo bahala kung anong oras, anong araw, just advise mo lang si si Jade, makikipagkita ako sa inyo. Alam niyo naman yun. Dahil gusto kong mas magaling kayo sa akin pag nagturo kayo. Hindi pala ako magaling. Okay, RIP from number 3 to number 13. Again, you need to understand this. Okay? In the past lecture videos, alam ko na-prove ko to by direct proof. I'm showing you the other way around. Indirect ang tawag dito. Okay? Okay? Indirect ang tawag dyan. Ang indirect or RIP ay applicable sa lahat ng klase ng argument na valid. Ulit, na valid. Pero ang RCP ay magagamit mo lang kapag ang argument, conclusion ng argument mo ay implication or conditional proof. Again, palatandaan ka naman, RCP, conditional dapat. Pero, ang indirect or RIP ay pwedeng magamit sa kahit anong klase ng argument. Okay. So, next is, that's all about valid arguments. After ng valid, alam natin na mayroon tayong tinatawag na invalid. Okay. Now, let's talk about invalid now. So, sa valid, lahat ng sulok ng valid, meron ka ng direct. To show valid, meron ka ng direct proof. Meron ka ng rules of RCP, option. At meron ka ng rules of indirect proof, RIP. Now, let's talk about invalid argument. Okay? Ang invalid argument, hindi lahat ng arguments ay valid. Okay? May mga arguments na invalid. Okay. Now, this is the procedure to show that argument is invalid. We will exhibit a truth value assignment to each component propositions that will make premises true and conclusion is, of course, false. Pag valid, ganito yan. Kung meron kang valid, valid versus invalid. Okay. So, let's assume that this is our argument form. Okay. Okay. Pag valid, if this is 1, this is 1. Kapag invalid, this is 1, but Q is 0. Yan yung pagkakaiba nila. That is 1 implies 1, alam natin 1, but 1 implies 0, alam natin 0. That is the difference between valid and invalid. Okay, I will give example. Tayo sa baba. One example only, intindihin mo. Example. Of course, this is new, example, kasi wala pa tayong pinag-uusapan, ngayon pa lang. Example, the argument T, if and only if U, and U, if and only if V and W. Then, third premise natin is B if and only if T or X. Therefore, T. Okay, this is my argument. If you don't know that this argument is invalid, I'm telling you that this argument is invalid. If you don't know that, alam ko, nagagamit ka ng, you will assume, of course, that this is valid, and you will use what? You will use RIP, RCP, or direct. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Matatapos mo ba to? Hindi. If you are following the rules of validity, at pinrove mo to ng valid, which is this example is invalid, hindi ka matatapos. Unless, kung meron kang gagawing mali sa rules, katulad ng ginagawa nyo ng nakaraan. May mga mali kayong application ng rules. Ngayon, paano ba mag-proof ng invalidity? So, proof of invalidity, PI. Yan natin. Hindi yan yun. Pero yan yung proof of invalidity. Paano yun? Ang sabi dito sa aking sinulat, to show that argument is invalid, we will exhibit a truth value assignment to each component propositions that will make the premises true and conclusion false. The premises are true, so you will assume that this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, and this conclusion must be 0. And you get the component propositions. The component propositions of this argument are T, U, V, W, and X. So we will find a truth value assignment, okay, to the following component propositions that will make the premises true or the conclusions and the conclusion 0. Or will satisfy this assumption. So ulitin ko, dahan-dahan ha. Para mapakita mo na ang argument ay invalid, kailangan mo magpakita ng truth value assignment sa bawat component proposition na kung saan ang mga premises ay magiging tama at ang conclusion ay mali. Tinagalog ko lang. Okay. Let's try. So obviously, from this given, obviously that your T is 0. Ayun na, nakalagay na. Explicitly given that your T is 0. Now, so lagay mo na yan. Yung bawat T na makikita mo, 0 yan. Okay? 0 yan. So, your assumption to the first premise of your argument is 1. That is your assumption. Given T is 0, if and only if U, a known truth value, must be 1. So, what's the truth value of U? The truth value of U, of course, going back to the first lecture, no? 0 if and only if 0 will give you 1. So therefore, U is 0. Okay. I will change color para hindi tayo malito. Okay. 0 na yung U. Again. If this is 0, and this is 1, the whole of this must be 0 para maging 1. Alam mo yan. Okay. But 0, kung magiging 0 to, sa tatlong pagkakataon, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Alam mo yan. So, wag muna yan. Di sigurado yan. Now, kung 0 yung T, may stop tayo. Pero hahanap tayo. Subukan lang natin, hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, no, na binibigay sa'yo. Subukan natin na 1 to. Let's change color para alam natin yung ating trial part. Let's use red. So, i-try natin na this is 1. If this is 1, this is 1. This is 1. If this is 1, X is 1, and T is 0, the whole of this is 1. And if this is truth, if the truth value of the third premise is 1, your B must be 1. Your B must be 1. 1. So, B is 1. Okay. If B is 1, and you need 0 here, okay, W must be 0. So that 1 and 0 will give you 0. So, W is 0. Okay? And your X is 1. Okay, now, nakumpleto ko na. Okay? Now, check natin kung papayag. Check natin kung papayag yung argument. Okay. T is 0. U is 0. So, 0 if and only if 0 is 1. Check. Pumayag. U is 0. B is 1. W is 0. 1 and 0 is 0. 0 if and only if 0 is 1. Check. T is 0. X is 1. But 0 or 1 is 1. And 1 if and only if 1 is 1. Check. Is your T0? Check. So, pumayag. So, ibig sabihin, pwede na natin i-finalize yung ating sagot. Burahin ko muna. Hindi. Finalize ko na lang. So, tama na 1 to, 0 to, 1 to. And this argument is done, but the caption should be invalid. Now, tatanungin mo ko. Ako na magtatanong para sa'yo. Sir, unique ba ang sagot? Hindi. Hindi unique ang sagot. Maaaring may iba pang assignment bukod sa ginawa ko that this argument is also invalid for that assignment. Kung mapapansin, meron tayong truth table dati, yung truth table natin dati. No? Alam natin, no? Ang valid means tautology. Tautology. Okay, alam mo tautology, puro one. Yan, ang ibig sabihin niyan, pag puro one, valid yan. Kaya nga, to test valid, ginagamitan natin siya ng TI. Ang I natin dyan is, ang T natin dyan, ay tautology at ang I natin dyan, implication. Okay? So, tautological implication. So, assume na kapag tinurot table mo yan, puro valid, puro one yan. Kaya naging valid. Ngayon, ano ba ang invalid? Invalid means contingency. Okay? Contingency, kapag may truth table ka, 1, may 0. Kaya ang contingency, may 1, may 0. Ngayon, the number of zeros will be the number of assignment na sinasabi ko. Dito, meron akong pinakitang isa. Ibig sabihin, obviously, this is contingency. Okay? Sometimes, pero hindi palagi. Hindi. Sometimes, pero maliit ang tsansa. Absurdity. Napakawalang kwentang argument yung absurdity. Yung kahit sa pagkakataon, wala siyang itatama. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Nag-choppy daw po sa part ng valid.
Sa part ng valid, ulitin ko. Valid.
Sige po, sir.
Valid means tautology. Pag tautology, of course, that is always one. Okay? Kaya nga, ang sabi ko, to prove valid, sa unang part ng validity natin, we show TI. Okay? We show TI. Ngayon, anong ibig sabihin ng invalid? Ang invalid means not tautology. And when the propositional form is not tautology, dalawa lang pupuntahan niya. It's either contingency, may 0 siya, or absurdity, puro siya 0. Kapag puro siya 0, walang kwenta yung argument. Kumbaga, walang kahit kapirasong tama sa sinabi niya, sa argumento niya. Samantala sa contingency, may portion na tama, may portion na mali. But that's not valid. That's invalid. Ngayon, ang sinasabi ko dito, yung zero will tell you kung ilang assignment meron to. Ngayon, kung gusto mong malaman kung ilang ba sagot niyan? Gusto mong malaman kung ilan? I-truth table, i-convert mo to sa propositional form, i-truth table mo, or i-shorten truth table mo, set mo lang sa 0, kung naiintindihan mo yung connection na pinag-uusapan natin. Because this subject is very, very, very connected to each other. The connection is always, connected to. Very compact yung subject na to. Talagang maraming pwedeng dugtungan. Dugtong talaga sila. Kaya nga sabi ko, kung hindi mo man naiintindihan yung mga nauna, hindi mo talaga mauunawaan to. Okay. Now, kung sinabi ko nga na, kung gusto mong malaman kung ilang assignment ba meron yan, sir? Ilang assignment ba? Gusto mong malaman? I-truth table mo. Bilangin mo yung 0, yun yung mga sagot. Okay. Ngayon, may tanong ka, malamang. Sir, paano kung valid? Ginamit ako ng invalid. Okay. Let's use the earlier example to show that is invalid. Try natin. Number 3, yung kanina. Yung sa RIP, example ng RIP, not J or W. Number 2 is A implies W implies E. J or A, therefore, not W. Okay, from earlier, alam natin valid to. What if, ay sorry, mali ako. What if, iset kong invalid to? Ano mangyayari, sir? Matatapos ba? Tingnan mo ha. Matatapos ba? Iset ko to na 1, 1, 1, tapos sabihin ko 0 to. Ulitin ko, na-prove ko na to valid. Pero i-assume kong invalid ngayon. Kunwari, hindi ko pa na-prove. So, anong component proposition yan? A, J, W, E. Arrange natin alphabetically. Always arrange alphabetically. A, E, J, W. Arrange na natin to. Okay. Now, this is your propositional component and this is your argument. Okay. From this conclusion, not W is 0. Obviously, W is 1. Because not W is 0. Lagay mo na ulit. Lagay mo na ulit yung mga nakuha mo na. W is, sorry, ba yan? W is W is 1. W is 1. Okay. If W is 1, automatic the whole of this, J or W. Tama? From your conclusion, W is 1. Eto, we can right away say, even though we don't know the truth value of J, because this is disjunction, this is 1. And knowing that not 1 is 0, hindi pumapayag yung premise number 1 sa gustong mangyari ng assignment na to. Bakit? One way is because hindi mo siya kayang i-0. Dahil siya ay palaging 1. At ang palaging 1 ay tautology at ang tautology ay valid. Valid. So, anong aral nun? Ang aral nun, kapag hindi pumayag yung argument, pag hindi pumayag yung argument sa assignment na 1 implies 0, automatic valid siya. At kung valid siya, mamili ka sa tatlo kung ano gagamitin mo. So, ganun yun. Kailangan mo muna, binigyan ka ng argument, hindi sinabi kung valid or invalid. Ang sabi lang ni sir, i-prove mo that this argument, determine whether this argument is valid or invalid, then prove. So, the first thing na gagawin mo, binigyan ka ng argument. Ito yung given argument. Given argument. So, ang unang gagawin mo is test if that is by proof of invalidity. Pag pumayag, pag nag-yes, done. If no, pwede ka mamili ng RCP, RIP, tsaka FNP. Or direct, indirect, conditional. Okay, by the way, but this is crucial, no? Hindi lahat ng argument pwedeng RCP kasi depende yun sa conclusion. Okay? Okay, so that's the lesson for today. Hindi ko naman pwedeng ibigay lahat agad ngayon. Dahan-dahan lang tayo. Wait lang, i-stop ko lang yung recording ko.